You know, I was just thinking this morning while making coffee and listening to Prince in my kitchen, uh, that this idea that you need to become spiritual, or this idea that you need to do something to feel spiritual, or that you're not spiritual, or that it's possible to sort of like a train jump on and off the spiritual tracks or the like the path. Like sometimes people will say, "Oh, I used to be very spiritual, but I kind of life took over and I'm not as connected anymore," or something like people say these kind of stuff. And I was thinking about how it's actually impossible for you to not be spiritual, even if you don't feel spiritual. I mean, everything is spirit. Everything is spirit. There's nothing that this is the spiritual world. Here we are in this temporary creation. We somehow just woke up here in these temporary bodies that are decaying with every breath. And within this short little condensement of time that we find ourselves in, it's a mystery. And when we think about this mystery, it does something to us. It gives us these feelings of understanding, like a feeling of transcendent understanding. It's not even like a conceptual understanding. It's just like sort of just just like an I get it, sort of like a light switch turns on. You look at the stars, all of a sudden all your problems just start to go away. You don't even really know who you are for a second. And maybe it only lasts for a second, but through meditation, yoga, shamanism, you can stretch that second out into an experience. But basically what I'm trying to say is that it's impossible to not be spiritual. Every moment in your life is actually a spiritual experience, and all the little downfalls, little trips, and stuff, challenging stuff that we find ourselves in along the journey of our life. All these little things are a part of the awakening process, and most of us know this when we look back in our lives and we're like, oh shit, like I see how that moment was actually the precursor to some bigger moment. It was like I needed to go through that to learn something about myself, to grow as a person, to discover something. So I personally look at all of life in this kind of way. It's all spiritual for me. Like, it's all the path. It's all the spiritual path. So all the times that I fall, or all the times I feel angry, or sort of in the lower aspects of who I am, or what people would consider not spiritual, these are spiritual experiences also. This is the spirit. The spirit is sort of this lost, well, there's two spirits. There's the ultimate spirit, where all knowing and all suffering and all pain and everything is just gone. It's just a pure, in Hinduism, what they call Sat Chit Anand. It's just pure consciousness, and that consciousness is blissful. And then there's the soul, that the individual soul, the sense of I-ness that we carry throughout lives. And this sense of I-ness is a wanderer. It's a wanderer throughout the spirit realm. It's an unsatisfied mystic that's like trying to figure out what's going on, what the mystery is. And because of this unquenchable thirst, we keep taking life and life and life. I mean, this is the idea of reincarnation. The lost soul lives in the illusion that it needs to do something, it needs to become something. And this is what the whole ego is doing. The whole ego is sort of on this what's the thing you run on, and it just goes in place, like it's got like the roller. What's it called? Those jogging machines. What the fuck is it called? Anyways, when you're on one of those little jogging machines, you're not going anywhere, but you're constantly trying to make it somewhere. So this is what the soul is doing. The individual soul is in constant motion, when the truth is in the stillness. The Buddha talked about this. It's in the stillness, the silence, the spaciousness. There's a background of silence in the universe behind all the things that are changing. The whole universe is expanding, so physics says. Who knows? We're just here on this little planet, but here on this little planet, things are also changing. We're on this, what we call time is actually change. So flowers seed, blossom, and die. Humans, the same. Planets, the same. And I would assume the universe, the same. But there is this presence behind all of that is not changing. This eternal silence, this spaciousness, this stillness that is unaffected by all these temporary things. It's the glass bowl containing all of the water and all the things inside the water. But the glass bowl, no matter what's going on inside the water, the temperature of the water, the fish that are swimming around, it remains unaffected, as it's the container. So this background of silence in which all things emerge out of is what we ultimately are. There is an unchanging part in ourselves that connects us to that source point of unchangingness. Again, in Hinduism, they call this Brahman, which means like this. They actually describe it as the white light, which is interesting because a lot of people talk about seeing this white light in near-death experiences. It's the merging with oneness. So it's enlightenment. It's realizing it's who we are. But so the big soul is that. The little soul, the individual soul, is trying to return to that. But we're on this treadmill. There it is. We're on a treadmill that's not going anywhere. We're trying to run towards the light, but there's no... And in that, we suffer because we're exhausted and, it's just we're not going anywhere. We're never making it. And the truth of that stillness, to connect with it, is to just stop. Stop trying to become and just be. So even as we go through life as a human being, relationships, jobs, sicknesses, all this kind of stuff, we can maintain a presence of beingness that doesn't ultimately identify with the things that are changing. So we can say, oh yes, I'm feeling so sick, or I'm feeling so heartbroken, but I know that it's temporary and it's not ultimately who I am. And as long as you can just have that little crack, that little voice in the back of your head that's just sort of like, yeah, feel what you need to feel. It's valid to feel this way as a human being, but just remember it's okay. You are ultimately the silence. And you don't need to identify with the noise because the noise always settles and the silence is what's ever permeating. So what I'm trying to say is that it's impossible not to be spiritual because you are the mystery. You are the cosmic silence that is speaking itself into existence. So even if you feel like you're not spiritual, you are spiritual by default. Spiritual is your default. The only thing that cuts you off from spirituality is the illusion that you're not spiritual. It's a contradiction, but the ego can be looked at as one of the infinite reflections or personalities of the one still spirit. So in the same way, like you could think of, I don't know, let's think, this planet. This planet has many different seasons. It has many different expressions, the deserts, the Arctic, all the expressions of life. It has all these personalities living here simultaneously on this planet. Human beings reflect this also. Everything reflects this. This is what the as above, so below statement means. It means that there is a sort of fractalization. You know, like if you put two mirrors next to each other and they just do like this, you know, like they just sort of infinitely go into each other. That's what reality does. As above, so below. You have these little atoms spinning around each other, and then if you look above and above and above, you have planets spinning around each other. It's all, everything is doing something, and it's reflected in all stages. So, so the Earth has all these different personalities. The human being has all these different personalities. The soul has all these different expressions that it takes. And who can say why? Why is the universe unfolding in this kind of way where it wakes up and it is communicating with itself through interactions like this video, or like normal relationships with people, or just the sort of what we consider mundane? Why is the universe playing out this way? That itself is a spiritual experience, and that itself is what I mean when I say that you are spiritual by default, because you're a part of something that's very, very strange and very interesting. And although we don't feel that every day in our normal lives because we sort of wake up in this routine, but the truth is so crazy that we can't even talk about it very often, because I mean, what would our civilization look like if this was a normal conversation? If this was the kind of conversations we're having in school or in our workplaces? I don't know if anything would get done. I mean, in the face of this truth, it makes sort of the industrial military complex and sort of capitalistic programming that we are currently being dictated into it makes it seem kind of pointless and almost a bit like animalistic in a sort of way. So anyways, what the point of this video is that everything is spiritual. You're spiritual. Don't ever feel like you're not. You know, always have in the back of your mind the realization that you are connected to the stillness, to the silence that we all share. And in that silence is peace. All the noise, you can just let it echo out into the infinite, because that's what it's doing anyway. So you don't need to drown in it so much, you know. Just let it ring out and just be with it, you know. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, that's my only spiritual practice, is seeking out the mystery, thinking about it, thinking about the mystery. I mean, that's my only spiritual practice, is just thinking about how crazy everything is. And in that, I feel extremely blessed to be alive, and because it's just like, what the fuck is happening? What is happening? I'm just me, and like I do this stuff, and I have these friends, and I just woke up here in this spot, and it's all so weird. And in that weirdness, I find I don't know what I find. I just find something that makes me feel like I'm a part of something very, very big, and something very, very hard to say and hard to recognize. And I want to be in the constant realization of that, because if I'm in the constant realization of that, then, like I said, it makes all this stuff seem sort of trivial in a way, and it makes me feel beautiful, and it makes me look at people as if they're beautiful. And they are beautiful. Everyone's beautiful. But anyways, so thanks for watching my video. My name is Dakota, And if you would like to watch more videos like this, then I have a YouTube channel. It's got like 400 videos. So, yeah, check it out. Follow me on Instagram, Dakota Wint. And all the links will be in the description. See you next time.